What's up, Vault Dwellers? I'm Dan, and today we're counting down the 13 Godzilla films from the Showa-Era that didn't just stomp the cities. They laid the radioactive groundwork for like every kaiju flick that ever followed. This is where Godzilla evolved from metaphor to mascot. We've got some serious social commentary, cheesy Saturday matinee madness, and some truly baffling detours. These are the films that built the legend, some by crushing it, others by tripping over their own tail. We're going full Showa from 1954 to 1975, back when the monsters were rubber, the miniatures were cardboard, and the charm was undeniable. So go pop in that dusty VHS, and let's rank the highs, the lows, and the radioactive in-betweens of the original Godzilla era. Alright, we gotta be real here. Godzilla's Revenge, which is also known as All Monsters Attack, it's the film you put on when you've already watched like everything else, and maybe your remote batteries have already died. It's more of a moral lesson wrapped in stock footage than a proper Godzilla movie. This story follows a latchkey kid who escapes his miserable life by daydreaming about being on Monster Island. And there, he pals around with Vanilla, who is somehow able to shrink, talk, and get bullied by a kaiju named Gabara that looks like a lizard who walked through an electrical fire. It's got some strange heart for sure, right? Honda was trying to say something about courage and childhood trauma, but even by kids' movie standards, this one's a slog. Most of the monster fights are recycled from better films, and Manila speaking in a squeaky dubbed voice. It's the stuff of nightmares. Is it necessary to watch? Only if you're a completionist. Otherwise, just consider this one radioactive filler. This is the one that like everyone remembers from bootleg VHS bins and late night cable purgatory. Godzilla vs. Megalon is colorful, ridiculous, and stitched together like a kaiju suit held up with duct tape and desperation. Jet Jaguar, he's a humanoid robot invented by a child contest winner, literally grows to kaiju size to help Godzilla fight a giant beetle with drill hands. The evil underwater people from Seatopia, yeah, really, they want to destroy humanity, and their plan mostly involves confusing plot holes and some shouting. The pacing, it's just a mess. I mean, the effects are cheaper than usual, and like you can see wires in almost like every shot involving Jet Jaguar. But I mean, here's the twist. It's weirdly watchable, like watching a puppet show on fast forward. It holds your attention just for sheer audacity. It's not good in like any traditional sense, but it's a prime example of Showa-Era Godzilla just going full Saturday morning cartoon. Just don't try to make sense of it. Son of Godzilla answers a question I'm not really sure anybody wanted to be answered. What if Godzilla was a single dad trying to raise a dopey-looking kaiju kid on an island full of radioactive insects? Well, this takes place on a remote island where scientists are trying to control the weather, of course, right? And instead, they end up with like mutant mantises, a giant spider, and Godzilla suddenly taking on parental responsibilities. Manila is divisive, and for good reason. He looks like a cross between a sock puppet and a melting marshmallow. And his baby noises, they're gonna test your patience. But beneath the goofiness, there's a strangely sincere attempt at character development. Godzilla teaches his kid how to breathe atomic fire, survive a fight, and even how to hibernate properly. It's less monster mayhem and more like parenting montage. It's definitely not essential, but it does show Toho was willing to experiment, for better or for worse. All right, now we're talking. Godzilla vs. Gigan is where the kaiju fights, they get mean. This introduces one of the Toho's like most metal monsters, Gigan. It's a space cyborg with hook hands and like a literal buzzsaw in his chest. And he teams up with King Ghidorah to attack Earth. Because, apparently the only thing worse than one space monster, it's two.
Laser beams, now!
The human plot is basically Scooby-Doo with alien cockroaches running a theme park, and it drags like a tail of molasses. But once the monsters show up, all sins are forgiven. The monster fights are long, violent, and shockingly bloody for the series. Godzilla actually bleeds in this one. The weirdest part? Godzilla talks. I mean, it's through animated speech bubbles, and I'm not kidding here. The movie is just all kinds of messy, but it knows what fans want. Monster brawls and maximum chaos. All right, let's take a trip, a weird sludge-soaked trip, and see Godzilla vs. Ghidorah, which is also known as the Smog Monster. And this is less of a movie and more of an experimental PSA. It mixes animated segments, psychedelic visuals, and grim environmentalism. And this is all wrapped around a villain that looks like a walking landfill with some eyes. But to its credit, it commits. The director was trying to make a statement about pollution and environmental decay, and boy, oh boy, did he go for it. There's body horror, some psychedelic dream sequences, and we've got Godzilla flying backwards using his atomic breath like a jetpack. Yeah, that actually happens. It's bold and unique and occasionally disturbing, but it's also inconsistent, totally confused, and jarring in ways that make you question your life choices. Still, you won't forget this one anytime soon. Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, which, and before you even ask, yes, this is the same movie as like Abira, the Horror of the Deep, just with an American title and a TV-ready edit. This was originally released straight to US television back in '68 by the Walter Reed Organization, and it later bounced between distributors for years. And honestly, it just kind of feels like a made-for-TV Godzilla movie. They swapped in Godzilla for King Kong, who was actually supposed to be the star. This plot strands our human heroes on an island run by a secret terrorist group. Godzilla, he naps in a cave until lightning wakes him up, and then he fights a giant shrimp. And I guess that's basically it. It's light and goofy and tropical in tone. It's really not peak Godzilla. But if you're flipping channels in 1978 and this one comes on, I think you're gonna watch it to the end. Let's just call it low stakes kaiju comfort food. Alright, so this is the grudge match that started it all. King Kong vs. Godzilla is where the franchise just leaned into the spectacle, and it was ratings gold. I mean, yeah, it's goofy and uneven, right? And full of mismatched logic, like Kong now gains strength from lightning, but this was like a box office titan. Kong gets drugged by berries, is airlifted by balloons, and then launched into a Godzilla showdown like a giant hairy cannonball. The tone is pure B-movie mayhem, and Honda, he knew exactly what he was doing. The satire on media and corporate greed, it still lands, even if the rubber suit wrestling veers into the absurd. The fights are just clumsy and iconic, and it gives us the blueprint for kaiju crossover chaos. The American version, it's awkwardly dubbed and full of weird edits, but honestly, it's kind of part of the charm. This movie walked, so Godzilla vs. Kong 2021 could flex. This was the swan song for the Showa-Era, and Honda's final Godzilla film. Terror of Mechagodzilla doubles down on pathos, menace, and a touch of tragedy. Gone is the kiddie tone of earlier entries. Instead, we get aliens controlling Mechagodzilla, a disgraced scientist, and his cybernetic daughter mentally linked to a Titanosaurus. Yeah, I mean, it's bonkers sci-fi, but with a surprisingly moody core. The monster action is it's so great, right? With Godzilla just going full underdog against two titans. The score is haunting, the destruction is so well shot, and the tone is refreshingly serious. It didn't save the series from hiatus, but it did close the curtain with dignity. It's darker, quieter, and completely underrated. If you want one that blends monster mayhem with emotional weight, this one's it. And by the way, here's a bonus. Titanosaurus may be the most elegant kaiju Toho ever built. Okay, we've just entered into sacred territory. Mothra vs. Godzilla, it's a classic in like every sense. Godzilla's the heel here. He's like stomping through towns, shrugging off tanks, and he's just being his absolute worst. Then enter Mothra, the radiant kaiju goddess backed by fairy twins and moral authority. This is less of a monster fight and more of a clash of ideals, like nature's rage versus spiritual balance. This is Honda firing on all cylinders. The effects, the miniature work, the pacing, it all works. I mean, there's a sophistication here. Even when like one of the fighters is a giant caterpillar, Mothra's self-sacrifice, it still hits hard. And the film dares to treat its monsters like mythic forces instead of just creatures. It's one of the most mature, visually lush Showa entries, and one that reminds you, Godzilla, he didn't always wear the hero cape.
How can we kill Godzilla?
This is the definition of a monster mash. Destroy all monsters. I mean, it rounds up like the whole kaiju crew. Rodan, Manda, Mothra, Gorosaurus. I mean, like there's like 12 in total. And they just unleashed global chaos. The plot, it's about aliens who mind control Earth's monsters to conquer the planet. And once that wears off, every kaiju just body slams Ghidorah like they're settling a grudge. I mean, let's be real here. The story's total nonsense, but the monster buffet so makes up for it. There's a nostalgic thrill seeing so many suits in one film, even if some get like barely 5 seconds of screen time. The final brawl, it's chaotic and so satisfying. Hana treats it with some weight, making this feel like a true kaiju event. I mean, this was supposed to be like a franchise finale here, and if it had been, it would have gone out swinging. Oh yeah, this is the movie where Godzilla, he fights in space and then dances afterwards. Invasion of Astro-Monster, it's a Cold War sci-fi wrapped up in kaiju chaos. The Zillions, they want to borrow Godzilla and Rodan to defeat Ghidorah. But surprise, it's a trap, and Earth is caught in a kaiju-backed alien invasion. I mean, it's got some gadgets, saucers, sunglass-wearing aliens, and the infamous Godzilla victory dance. And the effects are actually pretty solid, and the tone it's breezy, and the political allegory hums just beneath the surface. It's so campy and clever, and just pure Showa fun. This is a peak crossover era film, and the kind of movie that makes kaiju a global phenomenon. This is the sequel that like no one really expected, and it came pretty fast. Godzilla Raids Again is rough around the edges, but it introduces something vital: monster versus monster combat. Godzilla battles Anguirus in Osaka, tearing through buildings in what feels more like a bar brawl than a choreographed dance. I mean, the movie's a little rushed, right? And the editing can be super chaotic. The speed-up fights look like Benny Hill. But it's an important movie. This is the moment Godzilla became more than a metaphor. He became a franchise. It lacks the artistry of the original, but it gave us the format we're going to see just for decades. Call it a shaky but absolutely necessary second step. I mean, you know this had to be number one, right? Because this is where it all began. Godzilla, way back from 1954, it isn't just a monster movie. It's a national trauma turned into cinema. Honda's direction and the groundbreaking effects created just a creature born not of fantasy, but of fear. Godzilla isn't a hero here. He's the bomb made flesh, uncontrollable, merciless, and unforgettable. There's artistry in like every frame. The destruction is so chilling, and the human cast gives like real emotional weight to the horror. This is a post-war cry in a rubber suit form. It holds up astonishingly well. No sequels, no reboots, or cinematic universe exist without this film. Godzilla isn't just the king of monsters. He's the soul of the genre. Long live the king.
Todo el mundo. Adiós. Adiós.
If you grew up with these on late night television or a dusty VHS, you know they're more than just rubber suits. Their imagination, ambition, and the roar of creativity just echoing through time. And if you want to see a part 2, let me know in the comments which Godzilla movies you want to see. As always, keep it weird, folks, and keep it stompy.